welcome back to the garage, everybody. Brian is pilfering the toolbox, and we are getting ready to put the Power Glide back in the car. I went to the transmission shop yesterday. A good buddy of mine, Mike McGee, Mike's Trick Shift in Azle, Texas, if you should happen to need a transmission rebuilt and you're in this side of the planet. Anyways, Power Glide right here, ready to go. Super clean. There was not a thing in the world wrong inside of it outside of the band deciding to exit the building. And I mean the band for the transmission, not the band that plays the music. So we're going to have a transmission party. Brian is excited. See Brian's excited look. And yeah, let's get started on it. What are we doing now, Brian?
We're following an idiot down the, we are going to Ennis to test and tune today.
Why do you sound like the news guy? Today on Channel 4 News, we are going to Ennis to go to the drag races. Okay, now what are we doing?
I'm gonna be quiet.
Brian is now going to be quiet, temporarily. So we are headed to Ennis today for a track rental. We got in with Demonology and some other people who I do not know. Hopefully with the intent of having a race car that runs correctly for once. So they say, third time's the charm. We shall see.
Tell them about the transmission.
What am I going to tell them about the transmission, Brian?
That you just rebuilt it.
Oh. I didn't rebuild the transmission. Well, I rebuilt part of it.
Okay, there you
So
go.
Brian and I started to video some of that transmission install yesterday, and we just got carried away. But transmission, we got the Power Glide out of the car, rebuilt, put back in the car. If you follow us on Instagram, hint, hint, there is a couple of pictures of the broken parts, and I think it was actually in the last video too. The welded piece of the band broke, and of course caused all kinds of problems. So we changed the band out, changed the servo, put all new seals in it, put it back together, and it is fresh as fresh can be. So let's see what it does at the track. We'll see you guys there. Are not going to believe this mess. I think you can see in the bottom of the shot here, but the valve train, rocker arms, valve covers, coils, all that mess is off the engine right now. So I've been chasing a problem where it has a lean spot in it that I just can't seem to get rid of, and it manifests itself by showing a 15-16 to 1 air-fuel ratio in places that it, right off idle, going onto the trans brake, things like that. And I've tried everything. So we went to the track to Ennis and bought a space on the track rental. Like you just saw, we pulled into the track and everything, and got the car off the trailer with the new transmission in it. Proceeded to drive the car down the pits to warm it up, and it starts doing this lean spot misfire thing again, and when we had just tested it in the driveway, it was fine. So now I start looking for bad stuff. At the track, we pulled the injectors and the fuel filter and drained all the gas out of it and cleaned everything out, and there was some trash in the filter, but not that would cause this kind of problem. So to fast forward, we brought the car home. Of course, didn't make any passes or even try to. And I started looking for something really wrong with it. And as I did, I pulled the valve covers, I started checking rocker lash, and I had one or two that were a little bit off, nothing big. So then I decided to do a leak down test, and that's where the problems start. I found 5 cylinders that had 30+% leak down, 30 to 35%. And then the others were all in the 9 to, I'm looking at the chart behind the camera, 9 to 12%. So much better. cranking compression was odd. It was 60 to 90 pounds. I don't really put a lot of stock in that because that can really fluctuate from engine to engine just based on cam overlap and things like that. So I think what had happened was on the first pass that you guys saw a couple videos ago, the very first pass down the track, it saw 36 pounds of boost. And keep in mind, the car has not been tuned to that high boost level. As a matter of fact, it hadn't been tuned at all, considering the problems we found with dirty injectors and whatnot. So I think at that pass, the very first pass ever, or the second pass, the second time out when it backfired, one of those two passes hurt the motor. And what I think that it's probably done is probably has nipped the head gasket on both sides, particularly on the passenger side. So what we're gonna do, real quick, I'm gonna drain the fluids out of it, and then we're gonna start tearing into this thing and write it off, or at least write the problem off and see if we can get this thing figured out, because it ain't no fun wasting passes at the track or effort to go to the track or anything like that. So let's take it apart. Okay, so one thing of interest, which I thought was really peculiar, I got the engine torn down for the most part. The heads are ready to break loose and come off. But on the driver's side header, I saw this, and it's only on the center two holes. And let's see if you can see that in the camera right there. But those two those two exhaust ports are pink. And I don't know if the color's really gonna come through right or not, but the only thing that is pink as far as I can't even talk. As far as liquids and fluids inside the engine are the fluid or the water that's in the radiator. So that would go hand in hand with my hypothesis on blown / leaking / damaged head gaskets. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and start on the driver's side just to satisfy my curiosity more than anything, so we can see what this the head gasket looks like. So, well, let's take the driver's side head off. Okay guys, we definitely have a problem here. The number 5 piston is totally clean, and you can see this chamber, you can probably see that from the camera there. This chamber is just perfectly clean compared to the rest of them. So this cylinder was definitely drawing in water, and we probably have to pull the head gasket off, but I bet it's coming from either here or maybe here. Maybe even, hell, who knows, somewhere around there. It's in that area. There, yeah, that. So I'll grab the camera and bring it around here so you guys can get a look at this. So this piston, I didn't wipe that off or anything. That's just how it looked when I took the head off of it. So somewhere around here, it's pulling water in, so we got to figure that out. Outside of that, I'm glad the pistons aren't burned up. So I guess we can move on to the passenger side, get a good look at that. I'm not disappointed. I'm not even mad about it. I mean, it's just, it happens. What I think happened was the first pass, where I explained in the other video where we had some boost creep and the increased solenoid was leaking and these other problems that contributed to the 36 pounds of boost that it should have never made, is probably what got this ball rolling. So we're going to try real hard to not do that again. So let's get the other side tore off and see what we can figure out. All right, we got all the fasteners out of this one. Let's pick it up, see what it looks like. This side looks a lot better as far as the pistons all have color in them. Doesn't look like any of them got steam clean like the other side. And no obvious signs of combustion getting into the water jackets either. which is good for sure. Okay, well, we went from a broken band in the Power Glide to rebuilding the Power Glide and putting it in the car, taking it all the way to the track, not making any passes because the car decides to start acting up from a problem that probably pre-existed as far back as the very first pass down the track. And yeah, so I think that's probably a good place to end the video. We've pretty much gone through everything in one video. So looks like the next video is going to be putting it back together. I got to get some copper head gaskets on the way, some new intake gaskets, oil and filter, miscellaneous stuff like that. Then we will be back in business and hopefully making progress down the track in a little bit quicker fashion. So as usual, thanks everybody for stopping by. I certainly do appreciate it as usual. And be sure to hit that thumbs up button for broken parts. Subscribe if you haven't, and hit the bell notification icon. Oh, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, because I always post pictures of this stuff, even though we may not get the videos out in a timely fashion just yet, but we're working on that. Anyways, thanks guys. We'll see you in the next video.